Yes, sir.
For 22A, when in order to find the rectangle that encloses all the other rectangles,
Yes.
um, in order to find A, well, you get the x and the y points, and then you get a height and
Right.
off that.
Okay.
So I was wondering if there was a method to find the second x and y coordinate on the bottom right.
Yeah, my smartboard is being dumb today. Let me just. No, this is not going to work. I'm going to have to get it to work. Um, Hang on. Sorry about that. Oh, okay. This is going to be really bad. So your question is, you have x and y here,
Uh-huh.
and now you want to know what the x and y are here,
Or at the bottom right
or
as well.
here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's get everyone to the position where. So let me draw a second rectangle. So let's get everyone to the position where they understand why we care. So our job is to find the enclosing rectangle that encloses both of them. So we're just going to assume right now we just have two. And, I apologize for the bad artwork. Work here. That's the best I can do without the pen. So I want to find this big rectangle. And what do I know about this thing here? How do I compute this side?
Max x.
It's the max of all of the sides to the right. So what he says is, how can I compute this x value here? Because I have this x value here and I have the width. Well,
You just add the width to the minimum x.
that's actually what I did in my solution. I simply took the x over here, added the width, and then I got the x value here. But now he asks a good question and says, do I have to go through that trouble? And actually the answer is no, there is a method, and it's called getMaxX. So if you want to be lazy, and your lazy is good, then go ahead and call getMaxX. Oh, this is not going to work. And I'm just going to have to show you in the. So the way generally you find these is you go to the Java doc. This is the class rectangle. And it is well worth looking through and see if it has some method that you think you might need. And here we have contains getX. And you see over here where it says it inherits methods from somewhere else. And so when it says inherit, we have not talked about inheritance yet, but any ones that are listed here, you're also allowed to use. And now when you look here in rectangular shape, you will find get max x over here. So if I click on that, then you get the documentation here, which says returns the largest x coordinate of, well, it says in mumbo jumbo here, but I'll tell you in plain English it means it returns the x coordinate to the right. So it's a perfectly good idea to take this rectangle, call get max x on it, do that for all of the rectangles in the collection, and pick the largest value that you then have. Now, then there is a remaining thing. Now I wish I had my picture back. So I'm just going to have to quickly draw it again. So I had my rectangle here, I had my rectangle here, and I have my enclosing rectangle here. And so now it's easy enough to find the minimum x, and that's the smaller of these two. It's easy enough to find the maximum x, that's the larger of these two, now that we know how to do this. But when you construct this rectangle, that's the answer, what do you construct it with? You don't construct it with the minimum and maximum x. Let's have to sink in for a minute here. So what I'm saying is, you get the minimum x, the maximum x, the minimum y, and the maximum y, and of all of the x's and y's in here, and that gives you, the bounds of the big rectangle, of the one that encloses everything. You'd have to make a new rectangle, and when you make a new rectangle, what do you make it with?
Smallest x.
Yep.
Y, rectangle width.
Ah, okay, good. So smallest x, smallest y, we have those.
Rectangle width.
How do I get the width?
X plus. X
So,
width minus x.
so I have this guy here. That's the the min x. I have this guy here. That's the biggest x. Aha. Right. And so that's the width. That's the final thing you need to know to put that one together.
But you have to convert the integer because the table parameters.
Oh yes. Oh yes, and that's another stupid pain in the neck that get x, get max x, get y, get max y, they return you doubles, and in the end you need to convert it back to integers. How do you convert it back to integers? Yeah?
Is there a method? You need doubles. Parentheses or
There is no method to construct a rectangle with doubles.
you can put parentheses integer in front of all these.
Yes, you have to put this pesky parentheses integer in front of them. And then that'll convert it back to integer. So that's the program. Yeah.
I actually found a method looking for it that basically transfers it back to integer for you when you add doubles. It's the method's called setRect.
Oh, really?
That's
Okay. Oh, you may be right. That's. Oh, that's very interesting. Yes, you could do that. So he's found this method setRect. It takes double coordinates, and it even says in the documentation then it turns them into integers. Okay, that'll solve your problem. So is that cheating?
Nope.
Nope. If they provided you the method, then you're free to use it. Okay, other questions? But while we're at the subject, now that I'm encouraging you to use the methods that are in here, in the third problem, remember you're supposed to find out all of the ones that contain a particular point. And you're supposed to return a collection of all the rectangles that contain a point. Let's see if that sinks in. And there is a contains method here. And I have meanly made the problem so that you cannot use this contains method. And the reason for that is, so don't use it. It will not work. And the reason for that is that the way that contains method defines containment is different from what the problem does. So the question is, when you have a point that's inside, there's no question what containment means. But what if the point is on the boundary? In the homework assignment, is that considered containment?
No.
It is not, right? Because the homework says it has to be the inside. But Java considers it to be contained if it is on the top or the left border, but not the bottom or the right. Exactly. So I felt that was sufficiently bizarre. There's a reason for it, of course, but I felt it was sufficiently bizarre that I didn't want anyone to get into it. So for this one, unfortunately, contains doesn't work. Or if you did want to use contains, you would then have to add another check to make sure that it's not on the border. But that check is just as hard as to check whether it's in the inside, so it's probably not worth it. All right. Other questions? So I really do want you, of course, to do these three assignments and carefully reflect on them, because very similar things are going to be on the exam, which is why I designed them the way they are. So make sure to really drive them to conclusion, and if not, there's always a desire to learn to ask questions. And if you could please ask those questions not on 11:30 p.m. Because obviously you're not going to get a good answer. So someone asked, what can I do to study for the exam? The first thing you can do is get the homework done by Saturday and not by Monday. And then, if it doesn't work out, then you still have Sunday and Monday to figure it out. But that way, you'll be sure to really figure it out. That's going to be really essential. Yeah? The exam is on Tuesday. Yes. It finally is on Tuesday the way it is now on the calendar. The other thing that's going to be on the exam is, let me reboot my thing while I say that. That should take care of the smart part. And it also means that those people who didn't show up don't get it on the video. All right, so the other thing that's going to be on the exam is a question about the debugger. There was a lab on the debugger. Make sure to rerun through that lab, and particularly if you